Okay, my presentation is going to be very brief and it is based on the future directions. So you can see how the bispecific monoclonal antibodies, CAR T-cell therapies, belantamab mafodotin, well, had been recently approved, and this means that all these compounds will be incorporated in our clinical practice. And definitely in the bottom of the slide, you can see how, because of the earlier incorporation of this BCMA-targeted therapy, well, the sequencing decisions will be more complex. I think that more and more we needed to consider the patient-reported outcomes, and the patient preferences are going to be crucial. We have to give a lot of importance to the real world and the long-term safety data. We need much more collaboration with multidisciplinary teams, and we have to consider, why not, the availability as well as the logistics. We are going to see the future, and the BCMA-targeted therapies are moving to the newly diagnosed myeloma patients. And you can see here different phase 1 and 2, but I would like to remark that there are several phase 3 clinical trials already ongoing in newly diagnosed myeloma patients, some of them transplant ineligible, others transplant eligible. And this means that from now and in some years' time, we will start to have information about the role of this novel BCMA-targeted therapy in the first line of therapy. In the next slide, we are going to see how we have also to optimize dosing and schedules. This is the case for belantamab mafodotin, and we've just seen a clinical case. In this slide, you know that well, belantamab mafodotin was planned in DREAM-7 every 3 weeks, in DREAM-8 every 4 weeks. And here you can see how over time, the median time between doses was increasing, and the median time between 2 doses, you can see how it can be approximately 8 or even 12 weeks. This means approximately 3 months. With this different dose and schedule, what we observed is a clear reduction in the incidence of adverse events, especially the adverse events related with the eyes. But what is important is no impacting the efficacy. So in the future, we will try to optimize the dose and schedule, in this case for belantamab mafodotin-based combinations. And in the next slide, we are going to see how we will do more or less the same for bispecific monoclonal antibodies. And you know that the label for teclistamab and elranatamab was at the beginning weekly, and now it is possible to move to every other week and even every month, every 4 weeks. And this is basically based in order to improve the access to care, improve the safety profile, and of course to make more convenient for the patients and even for the sites the administration of this BCMA-targeted therapy. In the next slide, we are going to see the multidisciplinary team, and I think that this is a reality in the majority of the hospitals. And although we have to put the patient in the center, and maybe the hematology oncology specialists are going to lead the treatment strategy, we have to consider the nurses, neurologists, infectious disease specialists, primary care physicians, ophthalmologists, as well as pharmacists. And this is a reality in order to deliver all these BCMA-targeted therapy in our patients. In the next slide, we will continue with the future, and this is an important paper. It's based on a survey conducted in 1,301 patients with relapsed refractory multiple myeloma and almost 1,000 healthcare physicians across 7 countries. And here you can see in pink what it is a priority for patients: minimize treatment burden and logistical demands, reduce the day-to-day symptomatology impact, maintain independence and daily functioning. And in purple, you can see the patient and healthcare provider priority, and in gray in the middle, the healthcare provider priority: slow or prevent disease progression, achieve effective symptomatology control, maintain quality of life. And the common priorities were avoid severe toxicities, achieve the highest response rate and durability, and maximize survival and long-term disease control. So we are going to see in terms of future perspectives with BCMA. We know that we are going to combine CAR-Ts with bispecific monoclonal antibodies, bispecific monoclonal antibodies with bispecific monoclonal antibodies, and we have already some dual CAR-Ts targeting, for example, BCMA and CD19 or others that are coming. And from the bispecific monoclonal antibodies, we are entering into the tri-specific space, and we have a ramantamib targeting BCMA and GPRC5D, and also ISB 2001 targeting BCMA and CD38, and others that are coming. In the next slide, following with these future perspectives for the BCMA-directed therapy combinations. And on the left-hand side of the slide, you can see combinations based on bispecific monoclonal antibodies or belantamab mafodotin with different standards of care or even novel agents. And in the right-hand side, you can see Majestic 3. This is the first phase 3 clinical study evaluating teclistamab plus daratumumab bispecific monoclonal antibody with anti-CD38 monoclonal antibody. And this combination seems to be highly synergistic because of the efficacy we've seen at us. And just to remind, the hazard ratio for PFS of 0.17. Following with the future for CAR-T, maybe the future is in the in vivo CAR-T cell therapy. We had also the opportunity to see in the late-breaking abstract that as the experience with this first in vivo CAR-T, an off-the-shelf approach that programs patients' own T cells in vivo to express a chimeric antigen receptor, eliminating the need for the cell collection, ex vivo manufacturing, as well as a lymphodepletion. And at us, it was reported the experience with the first 4 patients included in the phase 1 MMICAR, with, in principle, encouraging results because these 4 patients rapidly achieve minimal residual disease negative. So I think that this is part of the future. And the next slide is the summary. BCMA-directed therapies continue to evolve with ongoing research refining how they are used across different stages of multiple myeloma. We are going to see combinations with the standards of care, but also combination with new agents. In the future, as we've seen, we are going to optimize dose schedules and treatment deliveries for the patients. Multidisciplinary toxicity management is essential. Shared decision-making remains central to treatment planning, ensuring that therapy choices reflect both clinical consideration and individual patient preferences. And I would like to remark this bullet because I think that with all these BCMA and GPRC5D targeted therapies available, I think that the patient preferences are going to be crucial. And finally, what I said about the CAR-T cell therapy, we are moving to novel approaches, more convenient, maybe less expensive, and with great efficacy for the patients.